Hello there everybody, this is Yoshi here, and today, let's do a Q&A, because why not? So let's get to it. We're going to be doing this in a bit of a random order. If you ask multiple questions, just know that I will be doing it all shuffled around and whatnot, just because it makes it more entertaining that way. So, anyways, let's take a look at question number 1. So, Gore the Matador 1494 asks, what is your favorite video game and why is it Donkey Kong 3?
No, God!
Well, first of all, my favorite game is not Donkey Kong 3. Have you ever played that game in the arcade? It's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mid!
Yeah, mid. It's not terrible per se, but there's not a whole lot to it either. I do wonder if Stanley will ever come back as a character, though probably not. We'll get into what my favorite game of all time is later, since someone else already asked that, but no, Donkey Kong 3 is not my favorite game. Not even my favorite arcade game. Seriously. Donkey Kong 3 is just very...
Mid!
Yep, couldn't have said better myself. So, Water Yoshi asks, what inspired you to become a YouTuber? So the reason I made my original channel, Yoshi 12, is actually different from why I came back onto this channel. So I go and cover both. My first channel originally was made specifically to support my dad's YouTube channel. Yes, my dad used to have a YouTube channel, and he joined even before me. Crazy, right? I was also a big fan of the TV network G4 TV with things such as Judgment Day and X-Play, so I was already into the idea of showing off my love of video games. Just didn't know how until I started discovering things like Angry Video Game Nerd and video game Let's Plays and stuff like that. I quickly fell in love and decided I wanted to do that myself, and my old videos sucked. Now do keep in mind, I was still young at the time, alright? I haven't even discovered, Elgatos or capture devices or DVD recorders yet, so I was literally using my dad's old video camera to record the footage. Then my old channel really slowed down while I was in college because I thought my studies were more important at the time, so that's basically how my old channel died, is I went to college just like a lot of YouTube channels I find. I swear, every time a YouTuber goes to college, it seems like their channel always seems to die. I don't know why that is. Because college ain't easy, that's why, I guess. Thankfully, when I came back here on this new channel, I already had a DVD recorder from my old channel that I had to switch over to, thank God. So I never had to sink as low as to point a camera at my TV ever again. Seriously, I regret recording like that back in the day, but again, I try not to be too harsh on my old videos because the simple truth of the reality is, I didn't know better back then. If you were to tell me what an Elgato was, I'd be like, what the heck is an Elgato? If you were to show me the price, I'd be like, I can't afford that, are you serious, bro? But speaking of which, why did I come back here? So I'm going to be brutally honest here. The main reason I made this channel was an attempt to make money. Please let me explain. After college, I was unemployed for a while since my job was a student job, so they had to let me go when I graduated. I figured, hey, maybe this could be a fun side hustle while I look for a job. Because at this time, a lot of the bigger names that we know today were already up, and I already had a love of gaming and a DVD recorder, so I thought it was worth a shot. Worst case scenario, it fails, and that's that, whatever. I could have stuck to the original channel, sure, but I really wanted a fresh start after being gone so long and doing so low with the old channel. And also because I finally wanted to have the proper name of Night Yoshi rather than Night Yoshi 12. Yeah, that's why I wanted the channel to be when I originally made it, but unfortunately, back then on YouTube, it had to be all one word. You couldn't, separate it like you can today, so that's why it's called Night Yoshi 12. In case you're curious. So obviously not the most noble reason to come back to YouTube, I know. Literally almost 10 years on this new account and still not a dime to my name. But I've kind of come to love YouTube more for the art and the community than anything else. Now of course that doesn't mean I don't want to eventually make money on here. That's why I keep the Ko-fi page open after all. Speaking of which, I have a Ko-fi. Yeah, cheap plug, I know. But I do have a full-time job now, even if it's one I don't particularly like per se, but let's not get into that. That being said, I mainly want to make money on here, partly as a side hustle more so than a full-time job. If it ever comes to that, cool, I'd love to do it, but I doubt that's going to happen the way YouTube is nowadays. But also, there is another reason that I'll be answering in an upcoming question later, so I guess you could say I came here for the bucks, but ended up staying for the fans instead. Average Shy Guy asks, are you allergic to DKC3? Well, that depends. Are we talking the game itself? If so, then yes, keep that piece of crap away from me. I can feel a sneeze coming on right now just thinking about it. If we're talking about the music though, yeah, it's alright. Some good tracks, but mostly forgettable. Unless we're talking the GBA soundtrack, which is pretty good for the most part. Seriously, if you never listened to the Waterworld music in the GBA remake of DKC3 up, look it up. Your ears will thank me. Super Joe Bros asks, your top 5 games of all time. Truthfully, I don't think about that a whole lot. I mostly just enjoy the games I enjoy and don't think much about top 10 or a tier list per se. And it doesn't help that I do tend to change my opinions quite frequently based on what I'm playing. Like, say I'm playing Star Fox Assault. Oh man, this game is so much fun. This is the greatest game ever. Or say I'm playing, Banjo-Kazooie. Oh my god, this game is so much fun. Greatest game ever. You know what I mean. That being said, I do have a top 3. Number 1 is Super Mario World, number 2 is Donkey Kong Country, and number 3 is Super Mario 64. However, just to fill in the rest and as a fun bonus, here's 7 more games that I would at least put in my top 20. Maybe my top 10, but definitely probably my top 20. Primal Rage, Donkey Kong Country 2, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Super Mario 3D World, Donkey Kong 64, and the Paper Mario Trilogy. Yes, I'm aware that's cheating a bit, putting a trilogy on there, but it's my list and I'll do whatever I want with it. Thank you very much. Also love Star Fox 64 and Assault, and F-Zero X and GX. And also, well, you get the idea. Luigi Rocks 07 asks, what other Donkey Kong games have you played besides the original SNES trilogy? So along with the SNES trilogy, I've also played a bit of the Donkey Kong Land games. Never finished them though, since they're kind of
Mid!
Yeah. I've also played Donkey Kong 64, Donkey Kong on Game Boy, the one that's kind of like a continuation of the arcade game. Pretty cool stuff. Mario vs. Donkey Kong 1 and 2, Donkey Kong Country Returns. A little bit of Tropical Freeze, but not a lot. I really need to get back on that. I also played the demo of King of Swing on GBA at Toys R Us. Yeah, anybody remember Toys R Us? Just me? Okay. And I'm not sure if you count Diddy Kong Racing, but I played that as well as all 3 of the Donkey Kong arcade games. Heck, I even played Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I'm pretty sure I had that one on Animal Crossing, so yeah, that's kind of how I played that one. Renegade Gamer 89 asks, other than Nintendo, are you team PlayStation or Xbox? Really depends on the generation if you ask me. For the first round PS2 versus Xbox, I'd say PS2 wins. With the likes of Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank, I just gotta give the nod to the PS2. Although the original Xbox does have some great games like Halo 1 and 2 and Conquer Light Reloaded. So, I'd say it's a tie race, but I'd give it over to PS2 personally. Round 2, PS3 versus 360. It's not even a contest. 360 by a landslide for me. Yes, the Red Ring of Death was a horrible thing, don't get me wrong. But the 360 had Call of Duty 2, Halo 3, and some other great games that I just really enjoyed, so yeah, I gotta give it to 360. PS3, personally, I honestly didn't even love the PS3 until the PS4 came out. It was cheapest during a flea market. I'll say this much about the PS3, it's how I discovered the Sly series, which is one of my favorites, so I'll always be thankful for that. But the other day, I can't really think of too many exclusives for the PS3 I truly loved compared to the 360, or that I couldn't just get on the PS2, because that's one thing about the PS3. There's a lot of re-releases of PS2 games, like there's the God of War games, and Sly Cooper, Ratchet & Clank, Jak and Daxter. It's like, why would I buy those again when I can just get them on PS2? I didn't get it at the time. Now for round 3, PS4 versus Xbox One. Honestly, I wasn't big on either one. I ultimately chose Xbox One, but honestly, if Mortal Kombat 10 hadn't had its Xbox 360 port canceled, I may have just stuck with that and kept my Wii U and Switch that generation, because there is truly nothing I wanted on either console. And unlike PS3, where I grew to love it later, the same has not happened with the PS4. Not yet, at least. Maybe it will happen someday, but I don't know. Granted, I do own a PS4, but I only got it so I could get Kingdom Hearts The Story so far. Gotta love that title, right? Yeah, I can't be the only one who feels this shouldn't have been a PS4 exclusive when you also released Kingdom Hearts 3 on Xbox One, right? What were they thinking with that? And as for the current generation, PS5 versus Xbox Series X, again, I don't really love either one if I'm just going to be 100% honest. I have a Series X because I can't find a PS5 for the life of me, but truthfully, I don't love either one. If it wasn't for Mortal Kombat 1, the Resident Evil 4 remake, I wouldn't have even bothered with the Xbox Series X, honestly. I guess I'd say I lean more Xbox since I own more Xbox consoles, but again, just depends on the generation for me. You know, if I had to pick between the original Xbox or PS2, give me the PS2, because, Sly Cooper and Ratchet & Clank. Possibly Jak and Daxter, but I never played those games. But if we're talking, Next generation 360, PS3, 360 no doubt. Halo 3. Need I say more? Super Joe Bros asks, any goals for your channel in 2025? So I do have a few goals in mind for 2025. An obvious one that likely won't happen this year, but I'm going to try my best to get as close as I can, is reach 1,000 subscribers for very obvious reasons, as I already pointed out. Another goal of mine is to make some new types of videos and also get me a new GoPro camera to aid me in said videos. You see, there is one thing I do miss about my old channel, and that was all the variety I used to have. It wasn't always LP videos, and that's something I'd like to change this year if I can. I still also really want to find a way to get on Super Joe Bros channel. Kind of a famous guy, maybe you've heard of him. He did the amazing DK December last year that really helped brighten up my year. He also gave me the courage I needed to face DKC3. What a great guy, am I right? Really wish you could get on his channel one day, maybe someday. Maybe this year? Hopefully? Fingers crossed. Who knows, maybe he's watching this video right now. Yeah, he's too famous, he ain't gonna watch my videos, who am I kidding? Gore the Matador 1494 asks, what happened to John Hammond?
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
Oh boy, this old joke has come back to haunt me, has it? Alright, first a little backstory for those that aren't in the know. Well, the earliest video series I did on this channel was a playthrough of the game Pocahontas on the Sega Genesis with my sister. A childhood game that, let's say, brought back some frustrating memories for her. It was a funny time in my opinion. And on the final level, you have to save the character John Smith, and during the level I had a slip of the tongue. Roll the footage.
I'll follow this deer.
Right after all this kind of a race to save John Hammond.
John Hammond?
I think of Jurassic Park for some reason.
Save the dinosaurs!
John Smith, I'm sorry.
Save the dinosaurs, save the world!
I don't know, I was just thinking about Jurassic World for some reason.
Save the dinosaurs! I'll save them!
So after that, it became a bit of a running joke in the Brother and Sister Play series that we were out to find John Hammond, since apparently he needs saving. The joke lasted up until about our last series together, which was Super Mario 64, mostly because we just kind of forgot to bring it up, unfortunately. Now granted, I believe we did bring it up in Hello Kitty Seasons, which we were originally going to do instead of Super Mario 64, but unfortunately when we played the game, it was just very, let's just say the game was really uninteresting, and unfortunately didn't give us much material to work with as we had hoped. That being said, I'd still love to give the game another chance in that Brother and Sister Plays format if we ever bring that back. As for what happened to the John Hammond joke, see, the thing is, it was actually going to have a proper send-off eventually, where we had planned it out a bit, and we were going to play a Jurassic Park game, I believe, if I recall correctly, whether it be the Lego one or one of the older ones. But the thing is, the Brother and Sister Play series just kind of stopped when my sister and I just couldn't find time to do it anymore. Granted, I did reference in the Who Murdered Sonic the Hedgehog livestream. I got a name that my sister would be proud of, would approve. Yeah! Jurassic Park, baby! Yeah! John Hammond! Yes, I spelled that right. We're going in as John Hammond. Just need the hat. But that was more of an inside joke than an attempt to bring the joke back. I'd love to bring that series back one day, don't get me wrong. But it's not easy to find time, especially since the capture device I had back then was very different from the Elgato I have today. But the one I used to have, all you had to do was plug in a USB drive, push the button, and you could record pretty much anywhere, pretty easily. However, with the Elgato, I need my PC and I need OBS Studio in order to record, and since I use a full-on PC rather than a laptop, it's not very portable, unfortunately. Here's hoping we give John Hammond the send-off he deserves one day, but again, I don't know if it's going to happen. I really would love to bring back the Brother and Sister Play series someday, but it's just not in the cards right now. Luigi Rocks 07 asks, also, what's some of your favorite things about the first two DKC games that the third one does not have? Maybe this will help me understand why you despise the third game as much as you do. I still don't quite understand the hate just yet. So I obviously don't want to give too much away since I want folks to actually watch the LP series, but I guess I can say a few things about it. First and foremost, it's not that I took stuff out that I love, but rather than a bunch of stuff that I hate in it, if that makes sense. To give an example, I guess I can spoil this since I already kind of talked about it a bit in the early parts. I hate those stupid parts where you gotta play Simon to get the banana bird. Oh no, I'm playing Simon Says. Or Simon, like the Electron game. Wow, that's so amazing. You know, I'm so glad they put this in the game. Yeah, I'm sure it's just the one, right? I'm sure they're not going, you know, put in a whole bunch and make it really repetitive and annoying after a while, because God, I hate Simon. I just ain't good at the game, what can I say? If I wanted to play a game of Simon, I'd go and play some Simon. In my opinion, these caves are twice as annoying as getting the Nintendo coin Donkey Kong 64.
Ooh!
Yes, I went there. The only reason I feel it's hated on less is because that's only if you're going for 103%. Now, I am going to be saying this in the LP itself, but let me just get this out of the way now, out in the open. I will say this much about DKC3. If you're not going for 103%, then it's not a horrible train wreck and one of the worst games I've ever played in my life, if not the worst game ever in my life. If you skip the bonuses, skip the banana birds, all that, then it goes from worst game I've ever played in my life to below average. Again, the LP will explain things a bit more because I still have more to say about it, but I actually want people to watch the LP, so I don't want to go too far into this. We're only 3 parts in after all, so trust me, I got more things to complain about. Just give it some time, okay? Water Yoshi asks, what are your future plans for your channel? Well, the future is unwritten, so I don't really know for sure yet, but I guess I can talk about some of the things I do hope I can do on my channel. One of the big ones is I'd love to do more cosplay videos. That's why I said I want to raise money for GoPro earlier. That and other video projects I don't want to announce just yet, but maybe someday in the future. I'd love to cover more conventions, meet more fellow cosplayers, and talk about some of my own cosplays a bit more. Another series I always wanted to do, if I ever made big enough on here, is a series called Bad Games for Good Causes. Basically, I play a bad game for charity, think kind of like Desert Bus for Hope, for example. The more money I raise, the longer I play, and maybe even have a few rules, like for example, say I'm playing Superman 64. If I fail a level, I have to donate some of my own money to the charity, for example. You know, that's something I've always thought about doing, but unfortunately, not a partner yet, so I don't think if I was to live stream, people can donate to me yet, so unfortunately, it's just a case of won't be able to raise money yet. Maybe someday, but we'll see. And last thing I'm up for revealing, at least right now, is I'd love to do some more Halloween and maybe Christmas themed videos. Now, obviously, I already do the 31 videos in October of me playing a spooky game, but I'd like to expand on that a bit. Maybe talk about Halloween decorations or animatronics or something like that. I feel like it'd be fun to do. And lastly, we end with Super Joe Bros 64 asking Candy Kong or Crystal from Star Fox.
Awkward.
Yep, this got awkward. I choose Princess Rosalie and Princess Katana. And that'll do for this Q&A, everybody. Thank you all for watching, and oh, alright, I'll answer it properly. I wonder if this means I gotta get my ladies Yoshi picture updated with both Candy and Crystal instead. And if anybody wants to do that, please feel free to. And hey, feel free to share with me as well. I could use a good laugh after all. So, I'll say this much right off the bat, if we're talking friendship only, then both easily. I'd love to hang out with them. But I'm assuming you're talking marriage like on some of your last live streams, aren't you? Alright, let's take a look at both of them. On the one hand, Candy does give you melons, which is nice. I do like the extra hits so I don't die during bosses or hard sections after all. I'm talking about the melon she gives you in the get those dirty thoughts out of your heads, you weirdos. She does have some good taste in music as well, so that's a plus. And hey, who doesn't love a little candy in their life, right?
Pun detected. Eradicate.
Then we got Crystal, and I gotta admit, she does rock that tribal outfit nicely. I don't know what it is, I just like women in tribal outfits. I think they always look cool to me. Plus she's a telepath, so that could be interesting. Maybe even a little bit fun. Or awkward, I don't know. And she has a fluffy tail.
It's so fluffy!
I like soft and fluffy things, I fully admit that. I wonder if she'd want me to pull on it, though. Do you think Crystal's that kind of fox that like... Okay, I'm asking too many questions now. Let's just pick one. I'll go with Crystal.
Oh, are you kidding me?
And you know what? You'll have my permission to make fan art of that this time around. Why not make an awkward situation that much more awkward for me? And that will wrap up this Q&A. What an awkward way to end it, am I right, folks? So if y'all enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and hey, maybe I'll do another one in the future. Got some questions? Leave them down below. If I get enough, I'll do another one. So, thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Later. Still not a furry, just an FYI.